Right, in this video we are going to look at the internal door openings. Now at the moment our internal walls are kind of blocked by the external walls. So as we've been careful enough to model our geometry on separate layers, if we turn off our external walls by toggling this little button, make them invisible, that gives us access to our internal walls much more easily. One of the other things that we can do is toggle on X-ray mode. This will allow us to see through our walls, and we can see then the underlying sort of positions of the door openings in various parts of the model. A couple of ways to turn this on to sort this out. The X-ray, if you don't have the styles toolbar loaded, then you can go to view and face style, and there's X-ray there. Now you also notice there's an X there. This is not a standard keyboard shortcut, but I'll take the opportunity to show you how to set these up. If you go to Window and Preferences, on the shortcuts we've got a load of different options that we can add shortcuts to. The easiest way is to filter X hyphen. That will give us the view face style X-ray, and you see the X is assigned to it. So what I would do, if I just delete that and put the X in this box and then little plus sign, that's going to assign that to that, and then I can say OK, and then to toggle on the X-ray mode I can just tap the X key on the keyboard. So that's a great way to do that, and feel free to populate the keyboard shortcuts with all different combinations that you desire. There are a few sensible ones, but there's an awful lot of other ones that could be used. So back to the internal doors. What we need to do is to get in and edit this group of walls. So by double clicking, that gets us into the faces and edges of the internal walls. The height of the door opening is 2040, so I'm going to use a tape measure tool, click on the bottom edge and just go up 2040, enter, and that's going to position that at that point. Now it's difficult to see, it's on the internal wall, so it's orange against orange. What we could do is right click on that, entity info, and then go down to guides, which is the layer we created for it, and then that puts it as a black color, and so we've got black on orange, so it should be a little bit easier to read. Now in the process of doing that I've sort of closed down my group again, so I need to just double click to get back into that. So I can now use the rectangle tool, that's R, the letter R on the keyboard, and make sure I come down to this point, then track across to this one, and then start moving up. I need to snap to that. Once I've got that little black dot, that's locked to that position, and then I can hold my finger on the shift key. That's going to lock the height, or the width out, sorry, and then I can move it up to this grid line, and that's going to give me the height of that. So I can go around and do it that way if I choose. The alternative method is to click on this face, and then with the move tool, pick up the bottom corner and tap the control key. That's going to make a copy of it. Then I can move into this one and drop it into the same relative position, that corner of the frame there. Are there any others in that orientation? If there are, I can do a similar trick. I don't think there's one in this part here, so again, bottom corner, click and tap the control key, and then drop that in. The other ones, we'll just knock up another one in this plane. So again, rectangle tool, click, and then once you've got that point, lock out, and then you can move up to this point. And once you've got this in position, then we can select that, M for move, tap the control key, and then we can come around and position these there. There's that one, there's that one, and I think, oh, that wasn't copied, apologies. There's that one, and I think that's it. So now we can use the push-pull tool to push-pull through the width of the opening, offset limited to 150, that's fine. Double click, just make sure we're on the right face, and that's our internal doors sorted out for the ground floor. Now X to toggle off X-ray mode. and this line here, this has been embedded, as I mentioned earlier on, into this group. So I'm just going to double click the group, select this, delete, then click away from that to unselect the group. I will quickly do the first floor door openings. I'll leave you to get on with that, and then when we come back into the next video, we'll look at how we can position this on top of this using the references of these floor plans, and then we'll start putting the doors and windows into the openings.